Half a year ago, I began drafting the plans of my dream on paper. A sauna by my forest pond, which I dug with my own hands. And today, the build already stands proudly on one of the pond's shores, now filled with fresh spring water. Inside the forest sauna, everything is in order. A pleasant aroma of herbs and freshness fills the air. The heart of the build is this massive stove. We grab an armful of firewood from the woodshed and get the fire going. A piece of bark and a bit of fire-starting paste help light the stove with a single match. The logs catch almost instantly, and thick clouds of smoke begin rolling out of the chimney like drifting clouds. On the hanger inside the sauna, there were these worn-out bath whisks. We've used them several times already, so it's time to replace them. This time, we went with oak and eucalyptus. Feels like trying something new. To add fragrance inside the sauna, we usually use essential oils, but there's also a much older method. We brought along dried herbs that my grandmother gathered last summer. Back then, before any aroma oils existed, these were used to create a pleasant scent. Let's make a simple holder for the herbs. From a long wooden beam, we cut 4 shorter pieces with ends angled at about 60 degrees. Using them, we join 2 wooden parts together and fasten them with screws to form a piece like this. We need to make 2 of these. In the finished parts, we drill 4 holes in each using a large drill bit. We apply a bit of glue to smooth wooden sticks and insert them into the prepared holes. Then we install the second piece on top, using glue again, and the structure is fully complete. We mount it above the upper bench with a couple of screws. We place all the dried herbs inside and get an incredibly fragrant natural air freshener. And once the room fills with steam, the scent becomes even stronger and more pleasant. On top of that, I installed a container with Himalayan salt in the sauna. When heated, it releases microparticles and creates an effect similar to a salt cave. This is very beneficial for a runny nose and overall for the lungs. While visiting another sauna, I noticed they used a thick rope as a baseboard. I decided to do the same. We nail a jute cord along the joint between the walls and the ceiling. The rope is flexible. It follows all the uneven surfaces perfectly and covers the gaps. The imperfections are now less noticeable, and most importantly, inside it's already getting hot. We take off our clothes and it's time to relax. The sauna has become even better, but it's worth remembering how far we've come to have this today. Let's get to work. First, we start with the foundation. The sauna will stand on piles. We found this cozy spot in the forest and set the first stake into the ground. From it, we measure out 2 meters. That's going to be the width. Then we place a second stake and measure 3 meters from it. The sauna will be 2 by 2 meters, and we'll add another meter for a small terrace. We tie a rope across the stakes to outline the exact perimeter. The layout is ready, so now we mark the positions for the central piles. And the marking stage is done. Next step, digging holes for the piles. For that, we're using a manual auger. Bit by bit, we drill into the ground and pull out the soil until we reach about 50 centimeters deep. Then we widen the hole using a shovel. The first hole is ready. We do the same with the second one. And then prepare the rest. The holes are done. Now we're heading deeper into the forest to find material for the piles. This dried tree is perfect. We cut it down and saw it into sections about a meter long. Then we deliver them to the building site. To make the wood last longer, we remove the bark with a special tool. And to protect the buried part from moisture, we use a bitumen rubber mastic and thoroughly coat each log with a brush. We don't hold back on the coating. This keeps the wood from soaking up moisture and rotting in a couple of years. Now let's create drainage. We pour a mix of sand and gravel into the holes. This prevents water from sitting under the piles. Time to install the piles. Using a water level, we set each post perfectly straight, add more gravel and sand, then fill the rest with soil and tamp it down tightly with a thick stick. We set all the posts the same way. Now they are solid and won't move, but we still need to cut them to a uniform height. To avoid any mistakes, we use a laser level. It projects the cutting line onto each pile. We mark the line and trim the extra with a chainsaw. Now all the piles are at the exact height needed for a perfectly level sauna. The foundation is complete. Stage 1 is officially done. Stage 2. Building the floor and creating a water drain system. For the floor frame we use thick beams, but first they need to be treated so they don't rot or catch fire. This antiseptic works great. We pour it into a sprayer. Lay the beams side by side and soak them thoroughly from all sides. This treatment makes the sauna more fire resistant and much more durable. Then we treat the boards that will go into the floor, walls and roof structure. After the solution dries, we mark the beams and cut them with a hand saw. We assemble a rectangular frame and screw it together. We install a center beam as a brace and reinforce all joints with metal brackets. The frame is very sturdy. We lift the floor frame and set it onto the piles, attaching it with long screws. The frame is in position. Time to lay the floorboards. I grab the first board and nail it to the frame. The second board goes in with a 5mm gap so water can drain. Following this rule, we nail down all the boards. The final board goes in. And the floor is ready. It looks amazing and most importantly, perfectly level. Stage 3. Building the wall and roof frame. We cut all the boards to the right length using a generator and a jigsaw. Clean cuts make the whole frame cleaner. Then we start assembling. We begin with the side walls, screw together a rectangular frame and install 2 braces inside. We make a second identical frame. The rear wall frame is built the same way, but with extra horizontal bars to form a window opening. The front wall includes a door opening and another window for ventilation. Now let's put everything together. First, we attach the rear wall directly to the floor. Then align and attach the side walls. And finally the front one. After that, we connect all walls with lots of medium screws. The frame came out very strong and straight thanks to the carefully prepared materials. But the roof frame still needs work. We attach a 30cm block to the center of the rear wall and another to the front. Then we place a long ridge beam across them and secure it properly. We lean boards onto it and screw them to both the beam and the wall frame. These are the rafters. We install several of them and then trim them with a chainsaw. The roof will be triangular, better drainage and a cleaner look. With that, the full frame of the sauna is complete. Evening rolls in, so we head to our warm cabin. We lit the stove earlier. Time to cook dinner and recharge. We chop a big piece of meat into small pieces. Slice onions into half rings. Carrots into thin strips. And do the same with peppers. And cut the mushrooms, namely champignons. We heat a pan on the stove with some oil, toss in the meat and fry it on medium heat until half done. Then we add the vegetables and mushrooms and let everything simmer for about 15 minutes. A bit of salt and pepper at the end and dinner is served. Everything cooked beautifully, especially the meat that soaked up all the veggie juices. A simple but delicious meal. After dinner, we collapse into bed and fall asleep instantly. Next morning, stage 4, wall cladding and roofing. We bought a huge amount of boards for this part. We place the first one on the side wall and screw it into all the braces. The second board goes with a good gap, and the third covers the space between them. We finished one side wall, then the other. We cover the rear wall, carefully cutting a board to match the triangular part of the frame. Then we finish the front wall board by board. And now the sauna finally has walls. From outside, it looks truly forest style, and inside there's plenty of room. Now we take on the roof. As roofing, we use the same boards. We attach the first row, then climb up and lay the next row overlapping the previous one. This prevents rain from getting inside and helps it drain down. We cover the entire roof this way. For extra waterproofing, we spread a tarpaulin over the roof and staple it around the edges. Now it definitely won't leak. On top of that, we attach wooden slats. Then we head farther into the forest to collect soil. We load it into the wheelbarrow and bring it to the sauna. We spread the soil on the roof. The slats hold it in place. The soil acts as natural insulation, so we don't need additional materials. A 3 to 4 centimeters layer is enough, but let's be honest, the roof doesn't look great yet, so we fix that. We attach a trailer to the car and drive to another part of the forest, where lush green moss grows in the shade. That's exactly what we need. We gently lift it off the ground in whole layer. Load it into the trailer and bring it to the sauna. climbing the ladder, we lay the moss on the soil. It will take root and stay green year-round. Once we cover the whole roof, the sauna looks completely transformed, natural, beautiful, and harmonious. Honestly, it turned out even better than I imagined, and today the build continues. This time, we're planning to install the windows and the door, insulate the structure, cover the interior walls, and do a lot more. But before moving forward, we need to fix one mistake we made last time. If you look closely at the floor frame, you can see that it has slightly warped. That happened because we didn't calculate the weight of the structure correctly. This needs to be fixed immediately, otherwise there's a real risk the sauna could eventually collapse. So we grab our shovels and dig 2 fairly deep holes under the floor frame. At the bottom, we add some gravel mixed with sand to ensure proper drainage, and then place the support posts we prepared earlier. We set them into the holes and press them firmly against the frame. With light taps from a heavy hammer, we carefully level the posts until they stand perfectly vertical. From below, we backfill the soil, and from above, we secure the posts with long screws. On the opposite side of the sauna, we install another additional support. After placing 2 more posts, the entire structure straightened out and became completely solid. Now the sauna is safe and we can continue working with peace of mind. Since most of today's work will be done inside, we start by installing the windows. They're wooden, which makes them a perfect fit for our forest sauna. The window fits perfectly into the prepared opening. We carefully level it using small wooden wedges. Then secure it to the sauna frame with screws. To permanently fix it in place and seal all gaps, we fill the space between the frame and the wall with expanding foam. The front window is installed the exact same way. First the wedges, then the screws, and finally the foam. We let it dry for a bit, then remove the wedges and trim off the excess foam with a sharp knife to make everything look clean and neat. We also remove the excess foam on the outside. The windows are now in place. They'll make the sauna brighter and allow us to dry it properly after each session. Later on, these foam areas will be covered with trim, so none of it will be visible. Next on the list, the door. Since we don't have a ready-made one, we'll build it ourselves. We lay out 4 boards evenly and screw them together into a solid panel. For extra rigidity, we add a diagonal brace. This will prevent the door from sagging over time. Then we flip the panel over and install large heavy-duty hinges. The door will be quite heavy, so strong hinges are a must. Once the hinges are mounted, we attach the door to the frame. Even though it's only halfway finished, the door already greatly improves the look of the sauna. We'll complete it a bit later. Outside it's winter. There's no snow yet, but it's very cold and extremely windy. We light a campfire to stay warm and brew some hot tea while sitting by the fire. And since the heat from the fire shouldn't go to waste, we decide to cook a quick and delicious meal. We take a large piece of cheese, grate it coarsely, and place it into a deep bowl. 1 tomato is finely chopped and added to the cheese. We do the same with the pepper. Then we add some fresh herbs, a bit of black pepper, and a pinch of salt. We mix everything thoroughly. The filling is ready. We take round flat breads, place the filling in the center, fold them however we like, and place them on a grill. The grill goes straight over the hot coals. This dish cooks so quickly that you barely need to let go of the grill. The flatbread is fully cooked. Time to take it off the fire. The cheese is melted and incredibly stretchy, and the vegetables add amazing juiciness to the dish. With our energy restored, it's time to continue working. A sauna needs to be almost airtight so that hot steam doesn't escape, and with these gaps, a proper sauna session would be impossible. The gaps appear due to the way the boards were laid, and now each one needs to be sealed. We fill a spray bottle with water from the pond and moisten the gaps. This helps the expanding foam adhere better and expand correctly when filling such large voids. After wetting the surfaces, we carefully fill each gap with foam. Once it dries, we trim off the excess. The gaps between the walls and the roof are now completely sealed. Steam will no longer escape. As we all know, a sauna must retain heat very well, so proper insulation is essential. For this build, we chose a 10mm foil-backed insulation. It's less fire hazardous than foam plastic, doesn't absorb moisture, and also works as a vapor barrier. We place the insulation at the top of the wall and staple it around the entire perimeter using a construction stapler. The excess is carefully trimmed off. The second sheet overlaps the first and is secured the same way. We make cutouts where the windows are installed. Step by step, we cover the entire interior perimeter. We don't forget the door either. It's insulated from the inside with the same material. 5 hours of work, several packs of staples, and the insulation is fully installed, but we're not done yet. To ensure steam doesn't escape between layers and stays inside the sauna, all joints must be carefully sealed with foil tape. It's extremely sticky and holds securely on almost any surface. We tape all seams between the insulation sheets, the connection to the roof, and the joint with the floor. We also seal around the windows and doors. With that, the insulation work is complete. Thanks to the material thickness and fully sealed seams, the sauna will retain heat efficiently, and the wood will be less exposed to steam, significantly extending the lifespan of the entire structure. And as you may remember, the roof was insulated with soil back in the previous episode. Since it was already late at night, we decided to continue the remaining work the next day and headed to our warm, cozy cabin to rest. In the morning, we were greeted by a fully insulated sauna, but now the insulation needs to be hidden. We spent a long time deciding how to cover the interior walls. Regular paneling isn't suitable, it's too sensitive to moisture. Flat, even boards felt too boring, but rough sawn boards, in my opinion, are perfect for this kind of build. They give the sauna a true forest look. I bought a large batch of these boards and sanded them thoroughly to make the surface smooth and free of splinters. We marked the boards and cut them to size. The side walls are ready, so we begin cladding. We install the first board vertically and screw it to the frame, sinking the screws as deep as possible to avoid burns in the future. The second board is installed with a small gap, and the third overlaps the first two. It's essentially the same technique we used on the exterior walls, except here the boards are mounted vertically. Where the rafters were located, we had to cut slots into the boards. The first wall is done. We move on to the second one, which goes even faster now that we know exactly what to do. The front and back walls, however, were more challenging. In addition to sizing the board, we had to cut precise angles to match the sloped roof before installing them. Now the walls are fully clad and the insulation is no longer visible, except on the door. We fixed that as well by attaching several boards to the door panel, which will also help it seal more tightly. The interior cladding is now complete. We definitely made the right choice of material. The sauna now has a wild natural forest look. Thanks to the vertical board orientation, moisture can flow downward along the wood fibers and into the drainage system. We even debated whether interior trim was necessary. The joints turned out quite neat, but one thing is absolutely essential: protecting the wood. For that we use a completely non-toxic oil designed for humid environments. We pour it into convenient containers and begin applying it. Protective coatings apply much more easily to planed wood, and the smooth surface also reduces consumption. We don't forget the ceiling either. It gets a generous layer of oil, since unlike the walls, there's no vapor barrier there. Once the boards are treated, there's no doubt about their durability. The oil provides excellent water resistance and makes the interior look even better. And the two windows will help keep the sauna dry at all times. Next, we finish the door. We attach thin wooden strips to the door frame. So it closes more tightly, preventing steam leaks. Then we install door handles made from leftover boards. A latch is mounted under the exterior handle to keep the wind from pulling the door open. Inside, we install a wooden bolt. Metal hardware would get dangerously hot inside the sauna, and this wooden solution works perfectly. The interior is completely transformed, but the exterior also needs some attention. In my opinion, the natural wood color looks a bit pale, so we decide to deepen it using wood stain. We pour the stain into paint trays and apply it with rollers. In some areas, we switch to brushes where rollers can't reach. After staining, the boards gain a much richer, more natural wood tone, and the entire structure looks dramatically better. Only the corners stand out where the foam is still visible, so we cover them up. Luckily, we had leftover board offcuts, which we attached to the corners as trim. Smaller pieces are installed around the windows to hide installation marks. We also add trim around the door. The sauna now looks much better. To emphasize the structure's edges, we apply a darker stain to the trim pieces. Now our sauna is truly a pleasure to look at. After staining and installing the trim, the result is simply incredible. With the windows and the door installed, the structure looks complete, and a huge amount of work has been done inside. In the next episode, I'll install the stove, and only a little work will remain before the sauna fills with hot steam. My day in the forest starts with cleaning the work area from snow. This winter is very cold, and my forest lake is covered with a thick layer of ice. I brought an ice auger to drill several holes so the fish can breathe and oxygen can reach the water. I drilled them around the entire perimeter of the lake. and then pour in fish food. Even though everything around looks frozen, life continues under the water. The fish immediately rush in for a meal. Now it's time to continue the construction because the sauna is still not finished. On the cleared spot, we place some firewood and make a big fire. From the pile of building materials, we take pieces of different logs and put them into the fire to char them well. This will protect the pots that will go into the ground. While the wood is being treated by fire, we don't waste time and prepare the holes. Near the terrace, we drill and then widen 2 holes. At the same time, we turn the logs so they don't burn through. Then we drill many more holes from the terrace all the way to the lake. In the holes near the terrace, we install 1 long post and another shorter one. As you may guess, there will be steps here. In the holes leading to the pond, we hammer in and bury many smaller stumps. We screw boards at an angle to these posts and get the frame for the steps. Then we attach several small bars to it as supports. After that, we install the steps themselves. Now it's easy to climb into the sauna thanks to these stairs, and using the buried stumps you can conveniently go down to the water. It's also a good idea to fence off the terrace so no one accidentally falls, because it is quite high. I install several sticks vertically and screw them directly to the terrace. Then I attach horizontal sticks to these posts. In just a few minutes, I made excellent handrails that perfectly matched the forest style of our sauna. But the work on the terrace is not finished yet. We decided to add something else here. So first, we need to prepare the material and go look for it. Recently, there were very strong winds in this forest, and nearby we found a fallen tree. For the forest, it no longer brings any benefit, but for construction, it is perfect. We cut off 2 thick stumps from it. And remove the bark with an axe so insects won't appear under it and damage the wood. We place the stumps on the terrace, screw a white board to them, and the bench is ready. Everything we just made, we paint with stain in the same color as the sauna facade, so nothing stands out from the overall style. Outside, the sauna has changed even more. Now it is easy to get to it, safe to stay on the terrace, and there is a place to sit with a beautiful view of the lake and the snowy forest. Inside the sauna, everything remains the same as before. In the previous episode, we installed the doors, made windows, insulated the sauna, covered it with boards from the inside, and treated it with special oil. Now it is time to install the most important part of the sauna, the stove. This time, because of the weather, we couldn't drive directly to the building, so we had to carry the stove by hand. It weighs almost 100 kilograms. Luckily, the manufacturer provided handles for carrying it. The stove was custom made for me because it is very difficult to buy a ready-made one. We will install it in this corner, but first it must be protected from heat. We put on respirators and goggles because the next step involves a very dangerous material, basalt wool. This non-combustible material is stapled to the floor and the walls. When the wool is in place, we cover it with thin sheets of metal and fix them with small nails. In the end, we get not only good heat protection, but also a heat screen that will evenly distribute the heat from the stove throughout the room. We put the stove in this corner, try on the pipe, and immediately mark the chimney exit point. Outside in this area, we remove moss and soil. Then we cut a hole for the chimney with a chainsaw. The pipe fits perfectly, and we install it onto the stove. The contact area with the roof is additionally insulated with basalt wool, and we attach a piece of metal with a hole as a heat diffuser. From the outside, just in case, we cover everything with a good layer of soil. Finally, we install this final part. Now we need to fill this basket with stones. We took two types of stone, quartz and diorite. We lay them in layers. Very soon they will be red hot and we will pour water on them. But for now the stove is still cold, so we decided to warm up in a different way. No, not the way you're thinking. We are not making a snowman. From a snowball we form something like a cylinder. Then using a stick we make one hole from the top and another from the side, connecting them together. We throw thin branches and a fire starter tablet into the top hole. As absurd as it sounds, we get an excellent stove made of snow that works perfectly. We place a pot of water on top, then we add chicken legs, one onion, a carrot, and herbs. We also add a couple of bay leaves and pepper. Let the dish boil a little. At the end, we add a bouillon cube. After that, we remove all the vegetables and herbs from the pot and add some noodles for fullness. We fill deep bowls, and while the soup is still hot, start our lunch. Hot broth cooked over a fire in a winter forest is a real salvation, and noodles with meat restore energy again. After preparing the materials in advance, we return inside the sauna. From all these wooden bars, we will now build comfortable benches. We screw two thick beams to the walls. They will be load-bearing, so we use large screws. On top of these thick beams, we place thinner ones with small gaps between them so steam can circulate freely. In this position, we fix the beams and try to hide the screws inside the wood so no one gets burned. The first bench is almost ready. It only needs an extra support so it can hold more weight. A bit lower, we assemble another bench in the same way. We decided to close the space between them with a beam and thus got a backrest. All that remains is sanding everything so no splinters can get into the skin. After sanding, the benches are safe to use, and thanks to the two levels, the sauna becomes comfortable for everyone. Everyone can choose a place where it feels best to sit. For now, there is nowhere to put anything in the sauna, so we return to the fallen tree. We cut 3 thick wooden discs from its trunk and also cut off one branch. Now we need to remove the bark from these planks. When the wood is clean, we drill holes. One hole is not through. When the second piece, we drill a hole through. And we do the same with the third one. We drip glue into the hole and hammer a stick into it. We fix the second piece in the middle. And the last one on top, we get an excellent table with shelves. Next, we take a nice board and drill many holes in it. We install small sticks into them. We get a hanger where you can hang towels, t-shirts or similar items. For outerwear, we make another hanger from 2 boards with a hole and a stick fixed with stoppers. In the end, we get a convenient construction and attach it near the entrance where all clothes can be left. The other hanger is nailed inside the sauna. Near it, we place a table, and in the corners, we fix small shelves for oil lamps. In my opinion, electricity would not fit here, and these lamps are economical and give a warm, pleasant light. We also treat all the furniture with special wood oil so nothing rots. and we cover the outdoor hangar with stain. Now the sauna has all the necessary furniture, but some small details are still missing, and they are all inside this huge package, which we immediately unpack. First, we take out a thermometer with a hygrometer and hang it on the wall. Sand timers will also be useful to track time, so we attach them on the opposite side. Next, we take out a wooden bucket, ladle and brush. All of this is handmade and looks very beautiful. I also bought a steel bucket, and of course I didn't forget about hats, towels and these brooms. After collecting several fallen pine branches in the forest, I decided to make conifer brooms. We tightly tie the branches with rope and get a version no worse than the store-bought one. Under the benches, we store slippers, and on the shelf, we place several types of essential oils for fragrance. And finally, I can say that my forest sauna is completely finished. Outside, it looks like a little house from a fairy tale, and inside it is filled with everything needed and looks almost like a spa sauna. But it is located deep in the forest, dozens of kilometers from civilization. Isn't that a dream? There is still nothing to heat the sauna with, so we go to prepare firewood. We don't have to search long. For the third time, we go to the fallen tree. We cut it into small logs with a chainsaw. Then we load them onto a sled and use it to bring the firewood to the sauna. After that, we split the logs into smaller pieces. We get a decent pile, but we need somewhere to store it. Near one of the walls, we build a woodshed and stack the firewood there. This amount should last for a very long time. Near the woodshed, we attach this device that makes it easy to split thick logs into small pieces. Almost everything is ready. We load thick logs into the stove, then smaller pieces, and use fire starter to light the fire. After just 1 minute, thick white smoke comes out of the chimney. The firewood ignites instantly like a match, and the stove immediately starts giving off heat. While the sauna is heating up, my friend cuts an ice hole with a chainsaw. The ice turned out to be so thick that an axe or hand saw would not be enough. I think you understand why we need this ice hole. We take some water from it into a bucket and put it on the stove to heat up. Meanwhile, the sauna is already almost 50 degrees. We prepare for steaming, put on our hats and everything else, and go inside. The temperature inside reaches almost 70 degrees. We put the brooms into a bucket, pour warm water over them, add a little essential oil for aroma, and splash water onto the hot stones. The room is instantly filled with hot steam. We start the sand timer and sit, periodically splashing water on the stones. The temperature and humidity are perfect. We stayed inside for 10 minutes, then went outside to rest. The body is literally steaming. We go back inside and take the brooms in our hands. We splash water on the stove and warm the brooms over the stones. We evenly fan the steam onto ourselves with the brooms and then gently hit the body. The muscles relax even more. This time we stayed inside longer and warmed the body more, then went outside to cool down in a more extreme way by rubbing ourselves with snow. We returned to the sauna to warm up again. While we were resting, a fox walked around our little house but soon went away. The sauna holds heat very well, and now it's time to go into the water. These sensations cannot be compared with anything. I have been to many saunas, but this one is the best in my opinion. We rested properly, had a great time, jumped into snow and water. Time flies fast, but it's good to know it's not wasted. You've just seen our work over the past 6 months. See you soon!